Duke, you're back. That's awesome. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm still having some sort of technical difficulties. So you can hear me now, right? I'm assuming, because I know the issues are starting to happen again. Perfect. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to upload the previous video because there wasn't much screen share that was going on. But Duke, welcome back. Love your significant other. And I didn't know if you'd actually gotten, because I remember I said 9,000 support level, and I think it got to like 9,001. I think that was the bottom that it touched because I stopped looking at it after that. But yeah, you got out at 95 or stopped out at 95, and then I don't know if you got back in at that $90 or 9,000 Satoshi level. But we're going to see on Ethereum Classic if it actually makes a dip to that 490 level that I'm looking for. If it does hit the 490, that's great. I would be looking to cut it loose for a $300 profit. So let's just see if it actually makes its way down to that 490.01 level. But let's go ahead and take a look at Golem for you, Logan. If my computer starts acting up, I might have to close Poloniex because I know if I have too many, it tends not to work as well as I want it to. Looks like Golem up to 10,000. But let's take a look and see what did it do when it dropped to that 9,000. I mentioned the resistance. It's never going to hit that exact price point. Like I think when I told you, keep an eye out on that 9,000. I think it got to 9,000, and that was it. No, Duke, I didn't buy XRP. I was looking at it the other day when it was really making a tank. And I was kind of looking at the very nice support level that it had formed, 1,800 Satoshis. And I think it got to like 2,000, a little over 2,000 Satoshis. So it didn't hit my entry that I was looking for at 18. But yeah, you purchased at 2,750 and it's at 3,093. Yeah, that's looking very bullish. So that was on the 20th, that was yesterday. It hit that 9, and then really it uptrended right from that resistance, not hitting 901 or 9,001 Satoshis. Yeah, and really from that, I wish I could draw out lines on this, trend lines, but it's still really on an uptrend. But yeah, if he had caught that 9,000, that would have been nice. All right, so let's take a look at Ethereum Classic, because I would like to see this dip to that 490 level. RSI is dipping. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this. And I know the screen share is out, guys. I do apologize. I know, it was just working perfectly a second ago. So I have an error basically saying your network connection is something. It's kind of blurred out. Your network connection is experiencing difficulties. Well, yeah, when I'm in a town of 50,000 students, 45, they need to upgrade their network. I forget who, I'll have to go back and kind of watch yesterday's video, but they had, it was right around, I think, 9,400, and they asked me, what I thought it was going to do. And it was at that time where it was basically forming the handle, and I told them that, it would form the handle and kind of drop. And I told them it would drop to like the 87 or 8,800, and it actually did make it to that level before getting up to 97, 98. I was talking to you on Slack. It was it had hit 98, and you had put in your stop limit sell order. So 7, I said, I'll have to go back later on today and just came down. They ripped up. So those are the kind of the formations I look for. I kind of really keep an eye out for them, and then where the RSI is, where the volume is, forms a true. You definitely want to try to catch the bottom, but it's kind of hard to determine what the bottom of that without really going back on those candlesticks, maybe 12, 13, 14 hours, even a day, to look to see, okay, where is the prior good support for this handle to really come down to. And if you can determine that, you can catch that handle at the right time before it actually rips up to the upside or your limit. Yeah, dude, it's like I think Google is messing with me. But yeah, yesterday worked fine, and today it's in and out, in and out. Get in touch with them through their support channel, and just let them know the issues that I'm having, and that it works great sometimes, but majority of the time it's or the video share is not working. Yeah, Duke, definitely, keep an eye out. I mean, I sit there and analyze charts. I zoom in and out. I'm looking at the 1 minute, 5, 10 minutes, if I can look at the 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. I mean, I'm going back to sometimes, looking at the daily candlesticks, kind of give me an overall picture. Wow, this is actually a lifetime overall cup and handle formation. And then, you could definitely find a good entry doing it that way. And those entries are basically, for short term. Once it forms that cuddle, it is going to rip to the upside because it will come back down. Wednesday, I guess when I get money to be out trying to form the business, it's taking up good. And I'm also buying a house, so it's probably going to be the biggest debt, in my lifetime career. So considering, those two things are happening, there is going to be no new laptop in the coming future, unfortunately. Now, unless you can make a run up to, 15, 20 bucks, and, sitting on 1,000 shares, then yes, I could definitely do it. To be honest with you, I mean, everything is working fine. My charts are working great. It's Google Hangout. It's their live. Yeah, Logan, we've been renting for a while, and kind of flushing money down the drain. So I think it's time to actually buy a house and build some sort of equity, which as they get older. So it's like they need their own room just for their toys, basically. And with 3 kids, stuff that ends up getting accumulated. Yeah, life's not easy, man, with kids. Logan, I think you got an older son, at least from what I remember a long time ago. Duke, I live in Pennsylvania, basically a place called State College, in the middle of Pennsylvania. So I would probably, be buying a house like 20 minutes away from the university. Right now, I live probably like, the university's in my doorstep, basically. There's a football house is about 110,000 screaming out on my deck. I mean, I can hear everything play by. Before, that's not bad at all. They're able to take care of themselves. My 7.5-year-old, it's tough as they get older, especially with my 7.5-year-old son. Things are starting to get tough as the days go on. When they're young, 1-year-old, even 4, it's not so bad. But then they grow up. All right, so let's take a look at this Ethereum Classic. 06 isn't too bad. 50, and I did sell half at 5. Pretty happy about that. But I would like to get that entry at 490. Yeah, somewhat a big buyer sitting at $5.05. Current price $5.06. People are basically trying to hop over that. It's about 11,300 coins that want to be bought at $5.05. Let's see how it's going to react once it hits that price. Is, considering I do have a long position, in order for me to actually another position, I'm hoping that 10,300 sits on the book when it gets to the 505 level. The longer that I've seen, hop in and sell to that person. So, I kind of take a look and see how quick are those coins going to be absorbed, or are they going to sit there on the order books? So if they unload on that person, and they're looking to sell whatever they can level. But if it sits there and it doesn't move at all, sellers are not willing to budge, with that person's bid price. So then more likely the price will go up. Logan, I'm the only thing I'm in right now is just Ethereum Classic. I wanted to get into Litecoin, but I'm waiting. 1301 is kind of what I'm looking for. 1240, I would definitely, buy 250 at that price point. But I'm probably looking, if it drops to 1301, I'm looking at I'll buy at least minimum 2. So Ripple's got some good, so this upside could definitely be in connection with that. I mean, and the banks of UA says, I'm surprised it's not higher than what it is now. Like, it's this low. But it does have a very large float, and that could be the reason why it's very low. Usually when they have a lot of float, means that there's tons of coins that are available, the price is not going to move as much. But when the float is small and the demand is there, that could cause a rip to the upside. ZCASH, small float. And that's why it really ripped from that. I think it touched 22. And then buyer just stepped in and really brought it up to, $88. Patrick, what do you think we're going to see massive moves in? All alts or Bitcoin? No, Logan, I don't know what they specifically do. And, I'll be honest with coins what they do about volatility. I get a lot of times where people are asking me to read the white paper, and it's all going to be good things, positive things. So it's kind of hard to kind of read that and think that it's a great company to invest in or a great coin to invest in just on the white paper. Yes, I do remember hearing that, running out your unused hard space. Anybody to have access to my hard drive? nice and quiet. You're actually able to venture out into town. When the students are back, though, I mean, I was a student once, so I know exactly what it's like. But it's a party town, and it's a crazy party town. We actually have our own. It's called State Patty's Day. So basically, it's taking St. Patty's Day and just making a State Patty's Day. And that's a student created organized. They got fed up with a bunch of drunk kids, so they decided to make spring break the same time as St. Patty's Day. And the students weren't having that, and they're like, well, we'll just create our own holiday, and we'll still celebrate it in State College when everybody's in town. So they have usually a week before St. Patty's Day is a State Patty's Day. I like the woods, and so me and my kids will drive out in the woods and on these logging trails and just be able to go hiking for hours. It's definitely nice. Yeah, I've lived in big cities, and I'm kind of done with it anymore. It was back in the day. Yeah, Logan, that's what trading's all about. 7% profit. Dude, that's pretty good. Yes, it did go higher, but it also 95,000 or 9,500. They dropped to 9,000, then you would have been sitting pretty tight, where you took profit at 95, got back in at 90, or 9,001 and 9,010. But then kind of rode that back up to 10,000. Yeah, and I think if you didn't have to go and pick up your significant other an entry in there, even if you had an entry at 91 or 92, that's still not, that wouldn't have been bad. But yeah, that's what happens in the trading game, and it's happened to me numerous times, and you can't kick out it. You get out, it goes up higher, and you actually stay in it thinking it's going to go up higher, and it actually comes down. That will happen to, I would say, probably 90%, 80% of your trades. That's how it's going to go, and it happens to every trader. But yeah, you can't think about, oh man, only if I would have made this much. Next time you're going to stay in, and it's actually going to dip. What you're doing is you're being very consistent, waiting for a good end, and then you got to be able to take those entries. I am looking into getting into Ethereum Classic. 490 is very, and I'm basically just looking to almost scalp it. But it's not a one scalp. It's probably going to be like a 15-minute scalp. If it gets to 490 and then gets back up to the 520, I would be looking to cut it loose. I don't think I would hold the 1,000. That's $300. I'd be happy. That's kind of the goal that I've set for myself on a day-to-day basis. If I could, I'm happy with it. The 250 I haven't cut loose yet because that was purchased at 430. Let's take a look at Ripple. Duke, I'm going to let out some more. I know you can't see my screen share, but I'll talk about some of the resistance and support. I think I remember you told me your entry. I kind of have to look it up, go back on the comments. It's at almost 33 right now. But let's take a look and see where's there resistance that it's going to track. Yeah, this has been making some new highs continuously. All right, so if I was trading this, I'm not telling you guys what to do, but if I was, I would be looking at, where did it bounce down from? At what level? And dropping back down, and really that level is, I'm sorry, not 11,000. Yes, 11,000 is basically did break a little over 11,000. I got to. Sorry, I'm looking at Gollum, and I'm like, I know Ripple's not at 11,000. Instead of 11,000 because it's hit it one, two, three times, and it kind of bounced down from it. So that's a. So we'll see if it actually does the same time, if it gets to that 11,000 and breaks back down, or breaks out with a vengeance. If it breaks out with a vengeance, that's pretty good support, because then that'll be the new support line, the prior resistance. But if it just teeter-totters, on that 11,000, then yeah, it could form a nicer handle, back down to 10,500, somewhere in that range. But if I can get my Poloniex chart to load proper Ripple for you, Bill. I'm sorry, Duke. Logan, what did I get spot on? Was it the call on Gollum? The drop to support of 9,000? I'm actually missing a lot of these. I've scrolled up all the way. Well, let's take a look at this. And I probably got to zoom out to the 1 week chart just to see where strong resistance. Yeah, if you can still hear me, I don't know if the sound is still cut out, but Logan, yes, I am still holding ETC, just the 250 that's left over. Charting system is probably one of the worst, especially if you're zooming out to like the 1 month chart. Horrible. You guys are probably not going to be able to see the candlesticks. I like the other exchanges where you can actually zoom in once you zoom out to the 2 weeks, 1 month, or even looking at the all-time chart. Yeah, the 250 I'm still holding. I haven't gotten rid of those yet. Those in increments, so like 100 at 559, and then the other 100 at 599 off to the side. I don't even have an order in for those. If Ripple does end up running to the upside, and I'm hoping you guys can hear me, but for Duke, since you have an entry in Ripple, I mean, really going back to April 2nd, it had an estimate it was at, but right around 50 to 5,300. If it does make a strong run where there's volume and RSI is pretty low, the run will have a very strong resistance at that 5,300. It's just hard to determine what it's going to come down to based on the 1 month chart. I mean, going back to April 1st. But we'll try to get a little more granular and get a closer view if my if Polonius cooperates with me. Chart and plot out some resistance for you. So with Ripple, I mean, even if let's form a couple cup and handles, and if you can really spot these cup and handles, and be able to find that bottom of that cup or the bottom of that hand. But yeah, Duke, if you got in at 27, I mean, you caught. I'm assuming it's before the rip. It ripped up and then started to come down. I just can't. This charting system is horrendous. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what 28 before it really decided to rip up to the upside. And you guys can't see the screen, and I do apologize. Five. Now, always remember, though, I mean, if it's going to form that, lifetime cup and handle, it's probably not going to get to 56.75. I mean, it could get to 56 and then start downtrending. But that's a very good area to kind of look at, right in the range of 55, 56, to lock in some of the profits, and then kind of wait for a healthy correction to. But it does have very good support, and I would say for Ripple right now that support is going to be, and I'm guesstimating, the charting system is not giving me an accurate hover over the candlestick. But if I had to guesstimate, I would say 28.50 has to do 3 times it down to that 28.50-ish up. So if I was looking to get in, that would be the level for me to get in, the 28.50. Not saying that it's going to drop to that level, but if it is going to drop, what's the level that traders will be looking and saying, you know what, that's a very good support level. 3 down below it, it couldn't do it. That's a level that I'm going to get in at, and majority of the traders think alike. And if they're all going to pile up right at that 2850 range, or anywhere between, I'm just going to say, 90 to 2850, that's a good NT. I'm trying to get that chart to actually load, and it doesn't want to load for me, Logan. So it's kind of hard for you. Hey, you know what? This is a good entry on support. But as long as it loads, I will gladly take a look at that for you, bud. And I'm hoping you guys can still hear me. Perfect. I'm glad to hear. But let me refresh Poloniex so we can look at Gollum. Still watching Ethereum Classic though for that 490. Now, if she can't sustain 490 and hold 490, 440 is really the next support level that I drew out. So if you guys are looking at getting into Ethereum Classic, definitely pay attention. If you don't, if you're not able to get in at the 490 level, definitely pay attention to that. I mean, it'll probably end up being like 441. Actually, trade up to 4 decimal points on the USD, which I thought was kind of odd. So when I was putting my orders in, I was like, somebody's putting in, 0.0101, and that 0.01 was preventing, or the 0.0001. Guys, I share, but there's really not much I can do about it. I mean, Google Hangout indicates that I am basically presenting to everybody at this moment. All right, let's see if Gollum is going to load finally. But yeah, Logan, you should still definitely keep an eye out on that 9,000, maybe 9,100, because that's going to be a strong support, considering that was the prior support, and that's kind of what it got down to before bouncing up from the 9,000 to about 11,000, it looks like. All right, Logan, so new resistance, and I kind of have to guesstimate because I can't get the accurate reading of the candlestick. Exactly what you said, I think. I got to look at your message again. But I see right about 9,800, and I think that's what you stated. Yep, 9,800. into a position. You definitely want to, find a good entry. But if you just, if you're impatient, you want to buy right then and there, yes, you can. But as soon as you do, you definitely want to manage that risk in case it decides to take a turn. And as long as you don't go all in and you still have funds that are available to buy back if it does dip. So let's just say hypothetically it dips to, 0.04 from your 0.09 entry. Then what you want to do is you want to basically purchase the same amount that you purchased at 0.049 at 0.04. So then that would kind of lower your average. So then your average would be 0.0445. That would be your average. So then if it gets back up to the 0.049, you're actually in the profit and not just basically breaking even. So you definitely want to have funds available that if it does drop, add to your position, lower your average, and the lower that you can have that average, the better it's going to be in the long run. So, what you did is not bad as long as you have funds available set aside that if it does decide to dip, that you can add more to it. So nothing wrong with what you did. But, to be a good trader, you definitely have to have patience. You gotta let the trade come to you. Now you could definitely, do well with just the way you played it now, but if you consistently do that on a day-to-day basis, and that's your strategy in the long run, it could come back to haunt you, especially if you go all in and you don't have any funds available, because a lot of times, it's human emotions. They take control of that. You purchase it at 0.049, you went all in, it's dropping to 0.045. More than likely, you're not going to cut your loss unless you're very, dedicated, determined. You've set those goals, you've set those rules for yourself, and you're sticking to those rules. Where you would cut your loss at 0.047 or 0.046, whatever it might be, whatever risk ratio that you have for yourself. But just never go all in. That's one thing I recommend. Now, I do go all in at some points, but I'm ready to cut my loss. And if I do go all in, and I'm taking a very sizable position, that's not something I'm going to hold for a long time. It's something that I'm going to profit $200-300, and I'm going to take those profits and run. But if I purchase a little bit, then I can afford to hold that for long term, because if it does dip, I'm not taking that much of a hit. So now, for me to purchase 1,000 at 490, I mean, if it goes down to 450, I'm already down $400. So that's huge hit for me to be taken. So, if it gets to 475, 480, I would probably be cutting my loss, waiting for a better entry, and not, ride the wave all the way down to 450. Yeah, patience is key, Duke. It is key. I don't always take a trade. I kind of let the trade come to me. I pay attention to it, watch it form. Pay attention to those cup and handles, pay attention to, what type of a candlestick is really forming at the top of this run, or what kind of candlestick is forming at the bottom of this drop. Because sometimes some candlesticks will tell you, what, this is a time to get in, especially if you see a hammer on the bottom of a downtrend, that's a good sign for you to get in. If you see a doji shooting star or a hammer at the top, it's telling you that the market is a little bloated. This coin is bloated. There's indecisiveness that's happening between buyers and sellers. There's going to be a downtrend, and then you really have to be able to capitalize off of that and take your profits and wait for a better entry. Yeah, Logan, you know how patient I am, man. I remember the one time I was going to pick up my daughter, and I was like, yeah, let me put an entry in at, I forget what the price was. It was like, the price was at like $48. And I told myself, I was like, I'll put it in at 44 and 0.01, something to that extent. And you're like, nah, just put it at 47, 47 will hit. And I just couldn't do it because I wasn't at a computer watching it, considering it was so close to the actual price. What do you know, Logan? You're absolutely right. That 47 hit, and from 47, it took off. But yeah, I wanted to be safe, to be honest with you, considering I wasn't sitting there and watching it. But yeah, you have to have patience. If you're just jumping on trades left and right, yes, you might do well in the beginning, but continuously doing the same thing will not have a good outcome in the long run. All right, this computer is just, I know I have audio, which is good, but not being able to share the screen with you guys, it's like, it might as well be a podcast. But on my Google Hangout, it shows me exactly what you guys are able to see. I can see the chart, I can see what I'm sharing, but on the actual YouTube, what you guys are actually looking at, it's just basically a blank screen. And I definitely didn't have this issue yesterday. Well, yesterday it worked perfectly. You can see screen now. All right, because on the YouTube page, I just have that little circle with the charts on it. But on the actual Google Hangout, where I could mute the microphone, I could, turn the camera on, I can present to everybody. That shows me that I'm actually sharing my screen with you guys. Yeah, Duke, you are absolutely right, man. And those candlesticks, I mean, they will tell you a lot of things. So you definitely got to pay attention. And really the best thing to do is, just look at a chart and kind of zoom in, zoom out, zoom in to where it really started making an uptrend and see what kind of candle formed at that uptrend. Zoom out, look at the top, before it really started to come down, and look at the candlesticks that are forming at the top before it starts to come down. A lot of times you'll see a hammer, inverted hammer. You'll see a T, which is the doji dragonfly. Yeah, but those things will indicate to you that there is an imbalance that's happening between buyers and sellers. And it basically will say, hey, you know what, if you're a trader and you know these signs, you might want to lock in those profits and then wait for a dip, to re-enter. But yeah, so when I'm sitting here and just looking at charts, I mean, I'm looking at the whole picture. I mean, I'll probably look at a 6-month chart and then kind of zoom in and out to where points of interest are kind of interesting to see. Okay, at this point, it really started taking off and skyrocketing, and I'll analyze the candlesticks that are forming. And majority of the time, 90% of the time, you're going to see the same candlesticks that are forming. It's a pattern, basically. Trading and reading candlesticks, it's a pattern. Sometimes you got to put in your geometry shapes and draw out your trend lines, which is all geometry. But majority of the time, it's those candlesticks will basically indicate to you, what is the sentiment that's happening right now? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? A lot of times when I'm looking, too bad you guys can't see my screen. I would explain it a little better. But I've explained it in the past where, if we have tons of green candlesticks, look at the current candlestick and where's it opening to the prior candlestick? Is it opening at its prior closing candlestick price, or is it opening at its lower end of the prior candlestick closing price? If that makes sense to you guys, I'm hoping I'm explaining that the right way. If you guys knew about candlesticks, you know exactly what I mean. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, please ask me and I will be happy to repeat that again. But those candlesticks, where they're opening up in comparison to the prior candlestick, is huge to tell you, okay, what is the sentiment? What is the momentum on this? Is that momentum going to continue? Once it really starts opening below its closing price, you should really be watching that like a hawk and watching, the RSI and the volume that's coming in. Because once it really opens up below its prior green candle closing price, that could also indicate that there's going to be a correction. It might not be a major correction, but there's going to be a correction that happens. And also, if something goes up so high, so quick, and it's just a straight light pole, with no sideways movements, I would be very worried at that point too. And if you have the profits, take them, because if it goes up straight up, where it's parabolic, it's going to correct itself, and it's going to correct itself hardcore. It might correct itself halfway of the candlesticks that are formed. And there's a great example that I'm looking at right now, but you guys aren't able to see my screen. And that was on really Ethereum Classic, where it went from, my purchase price at 430 It dipped to 420, and then it basically it took off to $5.09. And when it did take off to $5.09 from $4.30, I mean, you know, we're talking about 70 cents there. It basically gave up 50 cents, you know, instantly right away within a matter of minutes. So from 510, it's 509, but we'll just say 510. From 510, it came down to exactly 440, 440.01. I think it was, you know, what it came down to. But, you know, when it has that type of upward movement where it's just not really, you know, I mean, you want to see gradual movements moving sideways, but still to the upside. But when you have those things really just go parabolic and go straight up, I mean, they'll give up majority of those gains and then they'll go back up. So, I mean, if you're looking to basically, you know, kind of scalp it in and out, you know, getting in at 430, 435, it goes up to 570, you know, looking at the candlestick, what it's telling you, RSI was, you know, tapping out at 85, you know, get out and then wait for that nice dip. And when it did dip, RSI did crack below 25. And then it just had a gradual like grinding to the upside from 540 all the way to 550. And that was within about a day and a half, I would say. Oh, screen share's back on. Oh, that is perfect. But I do have the spinning wheel of death that's spinning right now, especially on my Bitfinex chart on my YouTube page because I'm using Safari for YouTube to do the Google Hangout. I have no spinning wheel. I can make changes, but on my chart I do have the spinning wheel. But if you guys are looking, since I do have screen share, if you're looking to the left of the screen right now, where I have the two dotted lines, there's a green dotted line and then there's a white dotted line. At that point is basically the $4.20, what I was explaining earlier, and how it just kind of went straight up to $5.10, but then it corrected itself right back down to 440, which is the thicker yellow line, or orangish yellow line that you see. So I mean, you know, when you see those type of moves, you got to be able to take the profit and then, you know, buy back in at a cheaper price using the profits that you've made as well as the capital that you've put in the beginning. Really, it's been removed. Interesting. I will definitely look at that, Logan. I know I didn't remove any training documents. And you're on, I'm assuming you're on it right now. But I do have, and I'm working on the PowerPoint presentation now, which there'll be a video that goes along with every PowerPoint presentation. So there's about 6 training documents that are already, you know, up there. I'm going to convert those 6 into a PowerPoint presentation and then do a video on those 6. So I've only created 2 out of 6 right now. I haven't really started making the videos yet. But the candlestick one should already be on there. That should not have been taken off, but I'll talk to Jeff and see if he took it off, because he's the only one that has access to it, to be able to add things and take things off. So it could have been accidentally deleted or possibly accidentally moved. But you're able to see all the other training documents, Logan? Okay, yeah, after this, I'll take a look at it. And I'm probably going to end this live stream early, guys. I do apologize. I got the spinning circle colored wheel, and it's just not really allowing me to make any changes on Bitfinex. I can't even look at GDAX or even Poloniex. All right, so I'm probably going to get off of this in about 2 minutes, considering I can't do anything on the screen that I'm sharing. But if you guys have any questions for me, please let me know within the next 2 minutes. I definitely want to be able to answer those questions for you while audio is still working. And Logan, are you on Slack right now? Because if you're on Slack, shoot Jeff a message, a private chat message, and just say, hey, you were looking at the training documents and the candlestick chart's not there, because he has access to all those training documents that I sent him. All right, guys, I hate to cut this short. The plan was for me to be on till 11:30 for 2 hours from 9:30 to 11:30. I'm going to cut this a little short considering my screen is not working. I can't really do much on it. It's great that you guys are able to see it, but I'm not able to make any changes or even scroll, zoom in or anything like that. But I'll be back on doing a live stream on Monday. Usually weekends I don't do a live stream unless something crazy is happening. So if we do see some crazy rapid movements that are happening within Ethereum Classic or even Litecoin, I'll definitely either record it or try to do a quick live stream as it's happening. But if nothing is happening really, if everything's just moving slow, then I probably won't do a live stream. But one thing I'll recommend to you guys is keep an eye out on Sundays. Depending where you're located, Sunday seems to be a good time for some volatility. Usually weekends there is none, but in China, my Sunday is basically their Monday. So there could be a lot of volatility on Mondays, their Mondays and my Sunday. But definitely keep an eye on the up and down movements that could happen on the weekends. But thank you guys for joining. I do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button. CryptoTraders Room is a place where we eat, drink, we sleep, we dream, we trade, we invest in cryptocurrency. And if you haven't done so already, check out our website. It's just a landing page at the moment. Sign up for our mailing list. It's CryptoTradersRoom.com. Also check us out at our other social media sites. We are all over the place. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat, and the handle's CryptoTradersRM. And definitely leave a comment once this video gets uploaded. If there's anything special that you guys want me to talk about, want me to cover, I would be more than happy to do it. Just leave me a comment in the comment section, and I do my best to respond to all the comments on there. All right, Duke, awesome. Thanks for letting me know. I'm glad you were able to join. You found this channel, and hopefully we'll be seeing more of you on this chat. But thank you so much, guys. I am ending the live stream as of right now.